What's going on, New Fighting Order? This is Alex Lexus, Nelson Rios, and Demizzle coming at you with a response to that solo video I did about 15 minutes ago in reference to exclusive content and how it's handled across consoles and just in the video game industry. Those of you who are part of or who are viewing part one, I already got one hit in reference to somebody agreed with me with how Bayonetta was handled. And I guess On Your Knees was supposed to join us, but he says Uvu's crashing. But yeah, I mean, I already said a majority of my part, but I want to give Nelson the floor and then Demizzle. But Nelson, in reference to what I said in the last video, I mean, the Bayonetta thing, the 30 VR missions, I mean, the Lords of Shadow, the you know, that was originally made in HD, but, oh yeah, they, you know, manipulated it so that it can be on the 3DS. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, right now I am somewhat pissed off in the sense you might not see it in my face because I just woke up, but I am just really angry because Metal Gear Rising was one of the most anticipated games I've been waiting for the new year. And now all of a sudden PlayStation 3, or I should say Sony in general, are having a time, not even a time exclusive, an exclusive content only on the Sony PlayStation 3 where you have 30 extra VR missions and you don't give Xbox shit. I don't agree with that because I know we're supposed to get for both consoles, we're supposed to get the Cyborg Ninja, the one from Zanzibar, and we're supposed to get like a certain other alternate costume pack of a different form of writing from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Inferno armor, the white armor, and something else.
Yeah, and some shit, and then also weapons packs or something like that for the actual game. But now it's with this whole thing of doing it also with Bayonetta 2 and also with Lords of Shadow for the Castlevania, this has to stop. I can care less if you're trying to get money from the biggest buyer for the biggest payout or for whatever the case may be, but you're pissing off your fucking audiences. You can make double the money, if not triple your profit, if you just give the exact same amount of content on both consoles instead of sitting there oh, well, Sony paid us $2 more million than Xbox does. Let's just put it on there. If the fans want it so badly, they'll just have to buy the game again and even, quadruple our profit. Motherfucker, we're in a recession. Are you serious? You think we got time to go out and buy all this shit? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there to both Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. You keep this shit up, I'm gonna just pirate all your games. Just straight the fuck up. You're starting to piss me off now, all this shit. I'm not gonna keep buying all your games for all this exclusive content for particular consoles, because that shit has to stop. But yeah.
It's crazy. But, Demizzle, you got the floor. What are your thoughts? I know we were talking about this a little bit offline. And I know it's you have a different perspective on it, and then, I agree with you for the most part. But hopefully you understand where we're coming from, too.
I understand being mad, and rightfully so. I'm mad about it, too, but you have to look at it from the company standpoint. A lot of companies don't want to take the wait and see how many people buy our game approach, because look at what you're talking about here. Metal Gear Solid is traditionally a Sony title. It's been on since PlayStation 1. It's been on Sony, and occasionally you'll get it on the Xbox way after the fact, but it's traditionally been a Sony title, and not too many people on Xbox 360 play Metal Gear Solid because they don't own both a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360. So they're going to the company that's shown them the most loyalty and has the bigger installed fan base, because look at what you have to do. On Xbox 360, you have to actually build up a fan base that will want to play Metal Gear Solid, because that fan base simply doesn't exist on the Xbox 360. Xbox 360 owners, by and large, play Splinter Cell because that's the similar game. Well, I shouldn't say similar game, but that's the game type that's on the Xbox 360 that's been there since the Xbox days. So you actually have to build that fan base for people to want to play it on the Xbox 360, whereas on the PlayStation 3, it's already there. And they're rewarding Sony by saying, hey, if you throw us a couple of extra dollars, we'll do this for you. So I can understand completely where Konami is coming from, even though they're not, even though there's fans like Nelson out there that want to play it on their console of choice, which would be the Xbox 360. There's not many of those fans like Nelson out there, so they're not gonna piss off a whole lot of people by doing what they did. You know?
Well, can I add something to that? You made some valid points. The only thing I disagree with is, okay, you have to grow a fan base, and whose fault is that? No one but their own. Because they're not putting the stuff out there on the system in order for that install base to grow. Now, when the Xbox 360 came out, a lot of the PS2 guys migrated to 360 because there was too much of a wait between the PS2 and the PS3. Am I right, Nelson?
Yeah. You're right.
A lot of the guys ended up going there, so it's like, all right, now I'm on this system. Can I get that? And they've been given like petitions and demands and all this other stuff, and none of that was ever honored, right? There is a demand there to have, that franchise on it. Now, here's another thing. Third-party games, third-party companies, they shouldn't have, like, the burden to sit there like, hey, you know what, I'm going to help sell your systems, like Capcom tried to do with the Vita and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. You know what I mean? It's not their obligation to do so. Now, you're right. Yeah, studios will be like, pay me a little bit and I'll take care of you, and fuck the fans. That's literally what it boils down to. But if they're doing it like that, that pretty much proves what Angry Joe says, Alpha Omega Sin says. They don't give a fuck about the fans. It's all about how much they can make. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Capcom
but look at it like this, Alex.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, look at it like this. Like, Sony, like, for the past 18 months has been coming in second place to the Xbox 360 in the MPD sales. Well, I shouldn't say, like, not even 18 months, 2 years now. They've been outsold by Microsoft. And they have to give people incentive to want to buy their console. Because if you can get the same thing on the 360, then what's the point? Why am I buying your console? Like, you have to make me want to buy your console. So that's where things like the exclusive DLC comes in. That's where the exclusive third-party game comes in. That's where that stuff comes in, because you have to make people see the difference between you and your competitor. Like, for instance, say if Nelson wasn't on our show and he was still doing raw gameplay, but we did the exact same show. Why would people want to watch our show or watch his show? Like, they can just watch one and get the same content that the other one is delivering. You have to make people want to watch your show versus someone else. You have to do something different. You have to offer more than what the next person is offering.
And you know what? You are 110% right. I do not disagree with you in the slightest. You are absolutely right. However, here's my rebuttal to that. And Nelson might agree with this too. All right. If Microsoft was outselling the PS3 and the ratio was 4-1, right? Four Xboxes to one PS3, right? Why is it like, okay, it would make more sense with a bigger console base, install base, to make, cater to them, because you're gonna get the chance of making more money on the other side as to trying to pull the anchor for Sony. It's not Konami's job to do that. It's not Capcom's job to do that. You get what I'm saying? It's almost as if it's like, all right, yes, Sony paid them an undisclosed amount of money, but you would make more, or probably see more profit developing and catering to where the bigger user base is. Now, I'm going to give Nelson the floor before. Right. I'm going to give you your chance. But Nelson, what do you think about what Demizel and I just debated on?
Well, I mean, you both both of you have like validated points, but when it comes down to it, it is the company who provided the actual game to see like where the trouble's gonna lie, because it's not really no more up to the consoles now, because the company sets out the game. And as what Demizo said, they go for the bigger part of the share wherever the money lies, because now we're in like this state of economy where money is all that's required now. So it's not about fan base or loyalty anymore. It's just money. But the other thing that I kind of like understand why they're doing the whole 30 VR missions for the PlayStation 3 is because Xbox has no like good sales in Japan. So this game is solely focusing on what Japan wants, not what anyone else wants. So that's the reason why I can see that the whole 30 VR missions for the PlayStation 3 is solely for like the Japan users of what they are going to get, instead of it getting it early as when we are. So I guess that's our slap in the face. We get it early over here. That may be true, but in Japan they get it later, but they get the extra 30 VR missions without extra pay. So
yeah, that's what I'm scared of too, because ordinarily that type of DLC is about 1,200 to 1,600 Microsoft points, and they're getting it by default. But you know what? We don't know if they're even going to charge for those VR missions, but it wouldn't be wise for them not to.
Trust me, they're going to charge for them, because it's the fact that like they need the money, especially for a new AAA title from Platinum Games is about to drop, and it's all Metal Gear Solid written all over it. People's gonna buy this shit. They're gonna want to force the DLC on us by paying for it. They may say, "Oh, we may think about it to see if it's for free," but come on, when the hell did Konami or Capcom or any other top company gives us shit for free? Like, when's the last time you've actually seen that? The only company who's actually been giving us free content as of late is Valve, and they're only a PC company who does Team Fortress and such and such, a Half-Life. They're the only company that gives content away for free.
And supposedly Namco too.
Well, yeah,
supposedly Namco. Remember Harada?
Well, BioWare gave a lot of free DLC for Mass Effect 3, man.
But that's only Mass Effect 3,
though. The hot water that they were in, they were trying to make amends.
That was only Mass Effect 3, but you can't count on hand how many other times have they done that for their other games, though. Like, on a consistent basis, it's only been Valve and Namco. That's it. Every other company wants money, especially EA, the biggest company of them all. They will charge you for any fucking microtransaction they can possibly can. Any possible.
For $599 microtransaction, yeah. But
I think that's the best and worst thing that happened with this console generation.
Well, yeah, this is true. But okay, that was the Metal Gear Solid thing. But considering, all right, how about this Bayonetta 2? I mean,
all right.
The whole thing with Nintendo helping with the development costs, that Nintendo knew what they were doing. They actually pulled a Sony. They actually pulled a practice similar to their enemy, and I'm surprised that Nintendo went that route. But all things considered, they have to survive. The Wii U's not selling to expectations. Fair enough. But Demizo, I'm gonna give you the floor then. Nelson, but yeah, this Bayonetta 2 thing, we already beat the dead horse, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Like Nintendo, they need a hook, straight up, like, cause right now, like as you said, the Wii U is underperforming. Like the MPD numbers came in for January, and they only sold 34,000 pieces of software.
Really?
That's all their games low. Combined. That's not low. That's pathetic. That's like there are games out there that individually sell more than 34,000 pieces, and they've only sold combined over all their software 34,000. So they need something to get people to buy into their system, because they can't afford to survive on first party alone like they did before. Because now, like, people aren't buying into the gimmick. They're looking for those solid titles. and Nintendo isn't delivering, so they need something. And Bayonetta,
they're looking for the killer app.
Right, they don't have any killer app. They don't have the killer app right now. Like, their biggest game is freaking Nintendo Land. And it's just, that's their top-selling game. And it makes no sense because the games that are already on the Wii U, like Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, which is also coming out for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 now, and Mass Effect 3, which has been out on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 forever, and Darksiders 2 and stuff like that. They're not selling on the Wii U because people have played them to death on the 360 and PlayStation 3, so they need that killer app, and they're hoping Bayonetta 2 will be that.
And with all things considered, a lot of people aren't happy about it. There's a demand for it on the other systems. It's just... But Nelson, switching, what are your thoughts on the Bayonetta 2 and how Nintendo, now it's revealed that they are publishing and they're really trying to nurture this thing to be their thing?
But Nintendo, honestly, they took the wrong game to try to set a console, upbringing with them, because they need way more than just Bayonetta 2. Just as what Demiso said, they need a lot more than just, their primary pieces of gaming like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and, any of the party shit that they got.
Donkey Kong, maybe.
Donkey Kong, all that shit. So with this whole Bayonetta 2, I honestly thought that it should have stood where it was meant to be stood on more of the serious consoles like the Xbox or the PlayStation. Now, for it to be on the Wii U now, I understand they're trying to find like a new hook or a new gimmick so they can bring in more fan base from, all types of genres into the console, but it's not helping. I mean, look, this guy just said that they only sold like 34,000 units of pieces of software? Yo, oh my god.
That's only like that. That's only like what? Like 10,000 more units than Bionic Commando moved on the Xbox 360 and PS3.
And it's just
that was like a failure.
And it's just pathetic. I mean, there's other games out there who's done way much more better. I don't want to keep bringing this fucking up either, but the shitty Devil May Cry game made more sales than that, and that's sad. Like, come on, Nintendo. You gonna let this fucking shitty-ass game outbeat your whole console reign? Like, nah. Y'all need to get your act together.
And Nelson, the problem is, and Demiso said it on a few podcasts back, that Nintendo is trying to have it. They're pulling an MC Hammer. What worked for Nintendo, they should have stuck with it. Like all of a sudden, they want to be gangster. They want to be with the hardcore and all that. And the hardcore base is stuck on the Xbox and PS3, fan base. It's not gonna move. It's not gonna move. Nintendo is not providing the hardware power to deliver that stuff. Now, with an underpowered system like the Wii U, and you're gonna force Bayonetta to sit in that, I mean, wow. I don't know.
There's a way that they will eventually get Bayonetta 2 on the other consoles. I see it happening. Like, they'll... Like, how when Tecmo did the Sigma series for PlayStation 3, because Microsoft had the exclusive publishing rights to Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden 2, but they did an end around and released like Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma for PlayStation 3 because it's content that's not found on the original versions of the game, making it a totally different version of the game. So that's how I see them getting around that eventually. Like, they'll do a Bayonetta 2 plus upper or whatever and release it on either the 360 and PlayStation 3 or the next Microsoft and next Sony console. So I can see that happening.
Okay. Well, I mean, a couple of things. Karma's a bitch. Like, Alpha Omega Sin had a video on what happened with Ubisoft and how they're in hot water right now, where Rayman got indefinitely, actually it got delayed on the Wii U until the other console versions are ready to be released. So they're going to be sitting in a warehouse somewhere until the other ones are ready to ship. Nintendo karma's a bitch. You just got bit by it. But now the last thing, Castlevania.
Let me speak on that because the reason why that happens is because it directly relates to the 34,000 pieces of software that were moved only in January. They're not like companies are starting to jump off the ship pretty quickly because they're not seeing the sales that they would like to see. And it's like, hey, why are we going to doom our game to failure when we can release it on the PlayStation 3 and the 360 and pick up a decent chunk of sales? So that's why they're holding it back until September, so they can get the 360 and PlayStation 3 versions ready so they can get those sales. And by delaying the Wii U version, it's not going to hurt them financially because they saw the figures and it's like, we're not going to sell many copies of this game on the Wii U to begin with. So it's like, it won't hurt us. Like, what we lose financially by holding it back on the Wii U will make it up on 360 and PlayStation 3 sales. So that shows you the level of confidence that companies have in the Wii U, which is not a lot.
Now, you see, right there, Ubisoft is pretty much looking at things in terms of, okay, yeah, just like you said, Platinum Games follow suit with Ubisoft. Now, a lot of people are mad that Rayman's not coming out on the Wii U. Okay, but you hit it right on the head, Demizel. They're not confident in the sales of the system and, the long-term, revenue that they're going to gain. And if Platinum Games is willing to take that risk on Bayonetta, wow. And But shifting to the last portion of this response to the solo video, the Castlevania Lords of Shadow, the DS stuff. Now, those of us who did play it, that is a plus title for Lords of Shadow, the original. Now you have a middle piece of that story that is directly linked to the first and second games that are, the first game already being out and the second game come out later this year. If I don't have a 3DS, I'm going to miss a whole lot. And then I go pick up Lords of Shadow 2. It's like, all right, what happened here? Oh, you have to go get a DS so you can figure it out. No, I don't want to do that. I hate feeling like I'm forced to, in order to get a continuum, jump around from different system to system. My sister, I bought her a 3DS back in Christmas, and I'm like, I don't want to take my sister's pink DS just to play that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nelson, I'm gonna give you the floor first, and then Demizel. I mean, isn't that kind of like extreme? You're going from a console, force you into a portable, and then come back to console. But if you don't have the portable, you're going to miss it. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, basically, they're trying to see how it will do on a different console/handheld based on previous sales that is done on the console. So let's say you had Lords of Shadow 1. Came out on both Xbox and PlayStation 3. It probably did well in sales. But now they want to see if they can hit towards a different market like Nintendo's 3DS, which is a very popular handheld, to see if their sales will even stay higher or at a minimal in such ways. But the thing is, this reminds me also, if you guys remember a game called Kingdom Hearts. They've done this also where they would release the PlayStation 2 version of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, then they'll backtrack and then they'll have it on the PSP. Then they will go out of nowhere, have a cell phone version of a game that we can't get, and then have another one on the 3DS. The whole storyline is thrown all over the fucking place now. So I don't understand the real reasoning of that, because then it causes people either to watch YouTube, not get the game, borrow their friend's copy for the 3DS or for whatever it is, or three, get an emulator. And it's starting to get a little bit crazy. Just honestly, I don't know if companies want to do this, but they should make it accessible for multi-consoles. Just make all the platforms have the same fucking game, so everybody could be happy. We don't live, like I said before earlier, we don't live in an economy where everyone has your household titles anymore. They don't have all consoles, all handhelds, or PC tablets and all this shit. We only have probably, each and every house has probably 2 consoles max, at most, probably even 1. So they gotta comfort us as well, to enjoy the game instead of having us dogging out our money to get a 3DS or stuff like that. But yeah, I'm done because I feel a little bit nauseous. So Demezo, you can take over real quick while I recompose myself.
All right, yeah, we're gonna wrap up real quick. I'm gonna give Demezo his time, and then we're gonna wrap up. Yeah. But yeah, Demezo, what are your thoughts on the Lords of Shadow middle piece, centerpiece of the story, being stuck on the 3DS?
It's like I have a problem with when they do that overall. As Nelson said, I hate when they do like side stories and middle games on other like portable devices, because as Nelson said, you're forced to either buy this game on a device that you own, go out and buy this device if you're that interested in playing it, watch it on YouTube, borrow it from someone else, and it's just annoying. I would rather them like make that side story as downloadable content, because I'd pay for it like that. I wouldn't mind doing that. Or releasing it as like a budget title, like $25, $30. I wouldn't mind doing that either. But like, I just don't want to play it on something that I rarely use, like a portable handheld, because and this is something that's been going on since back before Kingdom Hearts. I remember when they released you remember when they started to do the Castlevania Metroidvania style games on the Nintendo DS, and I'm like, man, these are great games, but why didn't they release these on like the PlayStation 2 or something? Cause
thank you, but Nintendo had that exclusive,
and it pissed me off, because it's like, man, this is a great game, but I don't play my DS that often to warrant me buying these games. So in all honesty, I got an emulator and played it on my PC, because I wasn't
do a walkthrough, like watch video walkthroughs like I did with Knights and all of those games, because I'm not gonna buy the handheld to enjoy that. It's like, bring it to the demand. I'm telling you, I feel what you're saying, Demezo. Like, they should have brought those games to the consoles. Bottom line.
And it's just like these middle games that they want to do are just like splitting up the fan base, because then you establish a fan base on one set of consoles, like a handheld, like a Nintendo console. Then you bring the main game back to the PlayStation 3 or 360, and these guys will probably have to like, oh man, now I invested time and effort into this series that you got me interested in. Now you're going to make me go buy a 360 or a PlayStation 3 to get the main version of the game. And think of it from that level, and that's not fair to those guys either, you know?
So, I mean, I'm glad that you guys made some time to respond to that video that I put up about now 20-some-odd minutes ago. But it just, in hindsight, you look at it and it's just, businesses are going to do what they're going to do. I just had to make sure that I voiced my opinion, and you voice your opinion, you guys, and I always appreciate it. So I'm pretty sure it's just, for me, logic isn't so common, and it just, business is business. They have to do what's good for their studio, and if it's being paid off to keep things exclusive or to move series from different consoles and platforms, hey, I just don't want to accept that, because, like you said, Demezo, you invest your time and effort into a series, you get hooked in, and all of a sudden, wham! Oh yeah, we're shifting gears. I mean, audience, New Fighting Order fans, please leave your comments below. please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time on the next podcast. I'm probably going to shift the schedule to every Tuesday because it might work a little bit better for me and we can be a little more consistent. But going forward, before we shut down, Nelson, you got anything for the group?
Yeah, just like a little quick reminder. Also, keep subscribing, keep following our channel. We're trying to get things together, as what Alex said. Like, we're trying to get our schedules to the point where it works better for us and stuff like that. We haven't had the best of luck with our days because we have a lot of conflicting schedules and whatnot. But also, I want you guys to look out for the Mizzle's YouTube channel, where he usually brings out almost weekly content on his channel. And also, what's today, the 12th? By the time we do the next podcast, we'll have been past Valentine's Day. So just a quick shout out to all you video gamers out there that have girlfriends or boyfriends and stuff like that do watch our show. Much appreciated to you guys. Hopefully you have a good, Valentine's Day. I know I will on Saturday when I will see my girlfriend and stuff like that. But yeah.
Ew.
So, yeah.
And before I get to the floor, Warcraft girlfriends don't count. Guild War girlfriends don't count. We're talking about real life, okay, people? So put the Jergens away, put the Johnson & Johnson away. We're talking about real Valentines, okay? So, Demizo, any closing comments?
Usually I'm the one with the over-the-top comments, but damn.
Well, you're influencing me a little bit, so it's all good.
But as Nelson said, just be on the lookout for my channel. Also, I do take requests, so if you want to see something played, just hit me up on the YouTube channel, and I'll see if I can get a hold of it and play it for you.
Well, I do have a request. Did you get World Heroes yet?
I have all of them.
All right. I want either World Heroes or Breaker's Revenge on there, and I'll be a happy man.
All right.
All right. So without further ado, this is the conclusion of our emergency response podcast. Chances are we may do another one on Thursday's target schedule, but if anything I see just like that really grips me, I'll try to scramble the crew together and we'll get something crack-a-lacking for you guys. So on the next time we meet, I'm gonna, like I said in the earlier video, I'm getting the most current information, the most current news from the Magic Box. Shout out to those guys. I've been visiting that site for many, many, many years. That's a very consistent, very good site, great information. So make sure you go check them out. And we'll see you next time on the New Fighting Order podcast.